U.S. concerns are ramping up that North Korea might be preparing a long-range missile test. I'm Mark Liverman with how President Trump is responding to the possible threats.
They call it Christmas land for a reason. I'm Cody Boyer in Bozeman, taking you inside one of the most Christmassy houses here in Bozeman.
And that might be the understatement of the year.
That
right
was
there.
a cool house. Great
Absolutely
job.
true. We'll take you there in just a moment. Meantime, just ahead of 6:30, Matt's going to take us outside for a moment.
I'm looking out the window, just a hair of snow.
Tiny little bit of flakes falling out
This
there.
is stuff that is lingering in here. This isn't what they consider convective, meaning developing through the atmosphere. This is just kind of hovering in our atmosphere, and we do have some fog in a few areas. Up above this, there's nothing. It's absolutely clear up in the middle part of the atmosphere. Temperatures right now 4 below in Butte, 24 in Belgrade, 5 degrees out toward West Yellowstone. You can see visibility has been an issue for a few areas this morning, but really not a whole lot showing up on radar. That's not a big shock for us. Anything that's really fine or light we don't see, but you can see it on the camera just fine. Temperatures are going to hold into the mid-20s for most of the day. Again, watch for patchy fog and maybe some black ice on the area roadways early this morning.
It's interesting. I know some people that are just like that storm. Up above here, there's nothing.
You know what? You're going to get us into HR. Luckily, they're off.
I didn't say I worked with them. I just said I know. 6:30 now. Our top local story this morning. A 13-year-old snowmobiler injured yesterday near West Yellowstone. Officials with West Yellowstone Search and Rescue say about 1:30 in the afternoon, emergency crews dispatched to an area known as the Two Top Trail System. Girl crashed her snowmobile into a tree, sustained injuries to her shoulders and back. She was taken to a nearby hospital. Her condition at this time not immediately known. Back on the international scene, it was surprisingly quiet in North Korea on Christmas with no expected missile tests. The United States wasn't taking any chances, however, reportedly flying surveillance planes over the Korean peninsula. CBS's Mark Liverman is in New York now with the latest.
In North Korea, Christmas came and went without a gift for the United States. The communist nation had promised one earlier this month. It was widely expected to be a ballistic missile or nuclear weapons test.
We'll find out what the surprise is, and we'll deal with it very successfully.
President Trump had brushed off the threat on Christmas Eve.
Maybe it's a present where he sends me a beautiful vase as opposed to a missile test.
The U.S. apparently wasn't taking any chances. South Korean media reports 4 American surveillance planes flew over the Korean peninsula. Pyongyang has also threatened to take unspecified action if U.S. sanctions are not eased by the end of the year. Recent satellite images show a new structure, believed to be for manufacturing mobile launchers for long-range missiles. More than 28,000 U.S. troops are stationed in South Korea.
We understand that Korea is a demanding assignment.
But they still found time to celebrate the holidays.
And the meal was actually really great because it reminded me of things that were being made back home.
North Korean leader Kim Jong-un is expected to deliver a national address on New Year's Day. Mark Liverman, CBS News.
Now, Mark tells us North Korea has had a self-imposed moratorium on nuclear and intercontinental ballistic range missile tests through 2018, though they still have been testing short-range ballistic missiles. Well, this year, the Salvation Army in Helena expected to bring in more than $30,000 through the Red Kettle campaign, but this year's most successful bell ringer doesn't ring his bell all that much.
5 golden rings, 4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree.
I love that. For the last month, Kirk Allen has spent 10 hours a day, 4 days a week, singing popular Christmas tunes while collecting donations for the Salvation Army. Allen on track to raise more than $7,000 for the organization, all of which will stay in the community, support local programs and families. He told MTN News he is in awe of the kindness of the community and loves seeing people's faces brighten up just from his singing.
I love the people's response to this. I get hugs, I get people grabbing my hand and twirling around while I'm singing. They want to dance, and it's fabulous.
It really is just fabulous. Major Philip Smith with the Helena Salvation Army said he's lucky to have bell ringers like Allen, grateful for the community's support this year, especially with it being the shorter holiday season. Staying in the spirit of the holidays, that is, Lewis and Clark Motel in Bozeman set up their impressive Nutcracker Nutcracker collection this week. Collection of Nutcrackers has been growing since owner of the motel began collecting them back in 2008. Right now, 446 of the Nutcrackers. They're on display in the lobby of the motel. Members of the public are encouraged to go check them out. By the way, Christmas Eve means festive lights, from the ones on the tree to the ones on your house. However, one Bozeman man has taken the concept to the next level. MTN's Cody Boyer shares his story.
Everybody's thankful. Everybody is just, the spirit is awesome to see.
It's a North Pole stroll that won't require a plane ticket. All you need is a coat, the kids, and directions. But once you are on Shadow Glen Drive in Bozeman, it's hard to miss Christmas Land.
Rock my Christmas house.
Oh, the Christmas Land sign out front. It's like Christmas Land.
From Snoopy, the Minions, countless polar bears, and Frosty the Snowman.
Frosty's got the moves.
It's easy to get a little lost.
It's great. It gives back to the community. It brings everybody together for Christmas. It's a beautiful thing to do.
For Brody Lassord, one of Santa's elves, the $40,000 display is even more special.
My grandmother had started this when I was a young kid. She died last year, so I decided that I wanted to kind of carry on the tradition, and this is kind of what I'm doing in her memory.
From a colossal Grinch to a colossal Santa, even a colossal Bumble, this place is Christmas Land. And just one night alone leading up to a Christmas, Santa tells me himself they had 3,500 people here.
We had a lady last night who came through, and she said that her friend was diagnosed stage 4 breast cancer, and they came through here and they just all cried and were so thankful, and it was just a great time for all of them. So it really touched me.
It doesn't stop with the yard. A walk through Brody's garage takes you through a carnival. And donations are split up the middle, with some going to the Bozeman Fire Department, the other half, well, the electrical bill. All to help welcome Christmas Day in a dazzling display.
This is the time of year that to be with your family, and if you can help anybody out in any way, that's the best thing you could do.
In Bozeman, Cody Boyer, MTN News.
Oh, and it was spectacular. As baffling to me as it was to my granddaughter. It was absolutely cool. 6:36 now, looking ahead to 2020. It's going to be a big year for politics and elections. MTN's Mike Dennison gives us a preview of what's in store and what's at stake.
You won't get much disagreement from those in the political trenches that 2020 will be a huge election year in Montana and the nation. Here's Don Kaltschmidt, the chair of the Montana Republican Party.
And I believe that it's going to be a very, very important year to be able to see the direction of this state and this country. Do we want to continue with the prosperity and the things that are getting done at the national level and the state level?
That's one way to frame it. But whatever your spin, plenty is at stake in Montana in the 2020 elections. The governor's seat is open, and so are the spots of Attorney General, State Auditor, Secretary of State, and our U.S. House seat. And many of these races have crowded primaries, with multiple candidates competing for their party's nomination to carry the torch in November. The race everyone mentions first is for governor.
Certainly the governor's race is going to command the most of attention. It's going to command the most money. It's going to command the most resources in the entire state.
3 Republicans are in the governor's race: Attorney General Tim Fox, U.S. Representative Greg Gianforte, and State Senator Al Olszewski of Kalispell. And 4 Democrats: Lieutenant Governor Mike Cooney, former State Representative Riley Neal of Livingston, House Minority Leader Casey Schreiner of Great Falls, and Missoula businesswoman Whitney Williams. Democrats have held the governor's chair in Montana for 16 years, and Republicans, itching to get it back, feel like this is their year.
I think Montanans are ready for a Republican governor. They're looking for a fiscal conservative and somebody that will espouse their Montana values.
Democrats, however, say the GOP agenda would lead to cutting public services like health care or schools, and that Montana voters should be wary.
If we do elect a Republican conservative gubernatorial candidate, thousands of Montanans stand to lose their health care. We really are focused on public education, where the conservative is more focused on charter schools.
We also have a U.S. Senate race in Montana in 2020, but at this point it's not generating much heat. Republican Senator Steve Daines is up for re-election, and his potential opponents are underfunded and largely unknown.
I don't think it's going to attract a lot of money. I think a lot of the national donors are going to be putting the money into other competitive races like in Colorado and Maine and potentially even Georgia before they actually put Montana on the radar screen.
But there is something big on the radar for the 2020 election in Montana, the Trump factor. Will the president be a positive for Montana Republicans like he was in 2016? Carl Schmidt, the Republican Party chair, says yes.
The president is very well supported in this state, and I don't think it will hurt us at all.
Parker, the political scientist, says it depends.
I think it all comes down to whether Trump is a net positive, is if the economy continues to do well. But don't forget, we have a president the economy is doing well, and even here in Montana, he's only about a 50% approval rating.
And Driscoll, the Democratic Party chair, says she's not concerned.
Montanans are a really independent lot when it comes to elections. We have a Republican and a Democratic senator in the state of Montana. We have a Democratic governor and Republican Secretary of State, auditor.
Yes, but going forward, will Montana remain something of a split decision between Republicans and Democrats? That's one of the big questions that voters here will be deciding in this critical upcoming election year. In Helena, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
Oh, and we'll continue to follow. Meantime, we're going to take a break. When we come back, what are the most popular baby names as we head into the new year? We'll show you the list, but first we'll show you this preview to what's coming up at 7 on CBS This Morning.
Ahead on CBS This Morning, U.S. spy planes are said to be flying near North Korea as the regime threatens action before the end of the year. A look at the overseas warning. Plus, Anna Warner is with us to tell us more about how to keep your identity and money safe from new scam robocalls that are impersonating Social Security Administration officers. And we'll take you inside the airline industry's efforts to create the perfect airplane seat. See you at 7.